Okay, fellas, there's something a little bit different here. You were good in that first game away at Sparta Prague, but I just thought we might be able to be a little bit more efficient in front of goal. I know a few goals are ruled out for offside, but still, I think we can be better. So tonight, we're going to do some dart practice here at the pub, okay? So what I want you guys to do is really focus on hitting the target, just like you would with your feet, but this time with your eyes and your hands. I've got my announcing voice ready, 180. So I really want you guys to just focus tonight, have a little bit of fun, and let's try and get this to help us in our next few games against Dinamo Zagreb and that big one against Man City, okay? Let's have some fun and hit some targets.
Looking for trouble and fights, but you found me. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I'm glad you're someone to rely on, someone to rely on. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I could be someone to rely on, someone to rely on, someone to rely on.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 180 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up in today's episode is a double header at home in our Champions League group. First off, we take on Dinamo Zagreb, and off the back of that, one of the two big matches in this group as we do take on Manchester City. We'll also keep an eye out on HK in the Europa League, and Nuts K are down in the Conference League, of course, as well. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But this is what the group does look like off the back of our first game in it in yesterday's episode away against Sparta Prague. If you did miss that episode, which also included an Icelandic Cup final, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Currently, we are in second because Man City picked up a better result against Dinamo Zagreb. Hopefully, we can counter that somewhat as we do take on Dinamo Zagreb in the first game of today's episode, just in case there are a few draws between us and Man City. That could mean that goal differential would decide who finishes on top of this group. And as you can see, at the moment, that is in favour of our English opposition. But before we do get into the swing of things in Champions League action, in today's episode, first off, we just have to round off the domestic season here in Iceland. Of course, yesterday we did complete yet another domestic quadruple, but just had a few more games to play to wrap up the season. And thankfully, we have gone through a season perfect domestically, yet again picked up wins in our last three games, albeit two of those very, very close. 1-0 against Akranes right off the back of beating them in that Icelandic Cup final yesterday. And then we left it very, very late as we did take on HK, which was actually with our full strength 11, so this result not that encouraging, albeit might just show that HK are on the improve. But we just got out of that one with a 2-1 win thanks to 2 goals in the second half, and off the back of that, our rotation team did complete the perfect season there as we picked up a 3-0 win against Breidablik. So that means that we have a perfect record of 66 points from our 22 games, and we pick up the league by 19 points over Phil Kerr, who just did enough to finish above HK in that Champions League qualifying spot for next season. HK are going to be in a Europa League playoff, which is a good little spot for them. I'm hoping they can do a good job in whatever competition they end up in the next European season, especially how they have started off this one in the Europa League. And Nuts KR and Vala Reykjavik are going to be in Conference League qualifying. Vala Reykjavik just pipping the likes of Hafnarfjordur, Breidablik and Akranes into that last European spot. So that is how the season has finished off here in Iceland, and it does mean that we can start to focus solely on the Champions League now, albeit this game coming quite hard off the back of those last few ones there in the domestic season. And first off today, we are taking on a Dinamo Zagreb team who did lose their first match of their group 4-0 to Manchester City, and with this one being at our home ground, hopefully we can inflict a similar type scoreline, as I said, and try and close that goal differential gap on Manchester City, just in case it does become a decider for top spot in this group. 3.5-star reputation club, quite a similar system to what we did see RB Leipzig use the other day, with 5 at the back, 3 in the holding midfield, and then 2 players up front. But this should be a team that we are capable of beating. Currently find themselves second in the Croatian league and just behind Inter Zaprosek, who is a team who did, of course, beat one of the other Icelandic teams in European qualifying this current season. But hopefully we can start off today's episode nicely and get the job done over these guys to put us level with Man City. Going into that second game of today's episode, we have no real injury concerns going into this one with any players who would have featured in our team for this game. So hopefully that stays the same going into that second one against Manchester City, and we'll come back shortly and get things underway from my arena as we take on Dinamo Zagreb. And here are the team sheets for this first game of today's episode. We are at full strength, as we did mention. It's our first choice 11 as well as bench, and hopefully we can keep that nice green form going. There is Dinamo Zagreb actually lining up with a 4-4-2, so slightly different to what we did see before on the club info page, but hopefully we can keep ourselves level, as I said, with Man City going into that second game of today's episode. And only 3 minutes into this one, we have our first highlight, a corner in our favour. Denali puts that far post for Tigre, and somehow the goalkeeper just gets that off the line, as you can see there by the rather average goal line technology. It is a good save there from the Zagreb goalkeeper, an early chance, and we have another one not too long off the back of that, this time from Lasana Doumbia off a free kick, but another good save there by the Zagreb goalkeeper, so nicely on top of our Croatian opposition early, but they do keep it at 0-0, and then another really good save then off a Filippo Dinelli corner, so putting a lot of pressure early here on Dinamo Zagreb. Yet another corner which Doumbia puts into the mixer, and this time the goalkeeper gets a hand to it but can't keep it out, and after a good early spell of pressure, we do go up 1-0 here after only 5 minutes. Already this looks like a game where it might pay to play for set pieces, just looking at the early stages, but some good pressure, as I said, and eventually Filippo Dinelli does beat the goalkeeper 1-0 Volsungur after 6 minutes, and very shortly off the back of that opening goal, it is Zagreb here in the yellow who do have the ball for the first time in this game, but there is Dinelli winning the ball back for us, and hopefully we can get back on the front foot. But already, as mentioned before, this does look like a game where we might be quite superior in the air based on those early highlights that we have seen, and we now look to play out from the back, albeit we are up around the halfway line, and get that out to Jonathan Berger back in for Lasana Doumbia. Bayer ball over the top, down for Tigre. Good short passing here. Tigre will put that in the mix for Bayer. It's really unfortunate there for the Zagreb defender. Gets a block in, but it falls very, very kindly to Adam Saki, who just pokes that home into the bottom left corner. After a couple of early highlights, we are already 2-0 up, albeit this one a little bit fortunate. You can see the shot here from Bayer. It's blocked by the defender, falls very kindly for Saki to tuck away, and inside 10 minutes, we already have a 2-0 lead. And up to the 13-minute mark for our next highlight, continuing to pile the pressure here on Dinamo Zagreb. A throw inside the final third, Lasana Doumbia there gets a header off, just goes wide, and it is still 2-0 Volsungur. And very shortly off the back of that prior highlight, was just about to praise the boys, but we won't quite yet. See if we can keep this run going, as it was a free kick there for Dinamo Zagreb, but a pretty poor one. They give us position inside the final third. Radenko Krolo here, given space, puts it far post. It's another headed goal, but this time Ognjen Mizkic will get on the score sheet. And at the 15-minute mark, we already have a nice 3-0 lead here. Hopefully, we can continue to bang in the goals and try and put some pressure on Man City in terms of that goal differential. This is the early kickoff, so we're going to need to update that score before we play them later on today, but a very good start for us here. 3-0 after only 15 minutes. And about 10 minutes off the back of our last highlight, we are back down the end here for a corner which Filippo Dinelli does get on the end of, just over the bar, still well and truly on top of Zagreb here, but it remains 3-0 at the half-hour mark. And that is half-time here in the first game of today's episode. Just faded off there slightly in the second part of that first half, but a very strong opening there. 3 goals inside the first 15 minutes, and that does mean we take a 3-0 lead here into the sheds. Very happy with how things are going. Everyone looking pretty fit as well, so no changes needed at the moment. Hopefully we can grab a few more goals here in the second half as we get things back underway. And about 5 minutes into the second half, we have an early corner here. Put this near post. Bassero Gay gets his head on the end of that, tries to loop the goalkeeper, but just comes off the uprights. It's still 3-0 early on in the second half. And only a few minutes off the back of that first highlight this half, it was briefly Dinamo Zagreb who were on the attack, but we do get the ball back, play it back to Karl Vollen, and now look to get forward. And a nice ball played over here for Adam Saki. What can he do? Tries to put that bottom right corner, but this time it is a good save from the Zagreb goalkeeper. He clears it. Still 3-0 10 minutes into the second half. And just shy of the hour mark, we are about to have a free kick here. Hopefully we can start to put the ball in the back of the net like we were doing in the early stages of this one, but already looks like we're in quite a safe position to pick up another 3 points. We try and square that one for Benvenu Bayer, but that shot is blocked, but we are still on the attack here. Now Agatigare, Radenko Krolo puts that in for Adam Saki, but that's a bit of a weak shot there into the goalkeeper's path. Still 3-0 just past the hour mark. And with just about 20 minutes left to go in this one, we are going to make a triple substitution at this time. A few players I want to take off. Adam Saki did just overcome a little niggly injury coming into this game, so we'll take him off early for Heiko Kunzi. Basaroge down to a red heart, so Basicki will come on for him. And also Jonathan Berger only going okay on a 6.6. We'll give Louis Herrera some game time here with 20 minutes to go and still holding a 3-0 lead. And only a few minutes off the back of those free substitutions, we are about to have a free kick here, and Lasana Dumbia is going to try and beat the goalkeeper here, and will do better than he did earlier, the goalkeeper in the first half, pulling off a very good save, but can't stop that one, and that will make it 4-0 with 15 minutes left. A really good free kick here from our French midfielder right into that top left corner, and that makes it 4-0. And just about to enter injury time in this first game of today's episode. It has been a very one-sided game, this one. Well and truly dominating Dinamo Zagreb. They just had the one shot in that game. It wasn't even on target. We potentially could have scored one more goal there based on the XG, but pretty happy with how that one went. We pick up a very convincing 4-0 win, especially getting lots of goals early to make sure that result was never really in doubt. And we matched what Manchester City did, of course, when they played them in their first match week in yesterday's episode. So hopefully that might try and even things up in terms of the goal differential, but that will make sure that we are 6 from 6 going in to that first match up against Man City in the second game coming up pretty shortly for you guys. We'll come back shortly, give you guys an update on what happened in the later kickoff, because as I said, we were the early one. Also check in on HK in the Europa League and Nuts KR in the Conference League before we do prepare for that matchup against Manchester City. And we have gone forward a few weeks prior to taking on Manchester City in a big matchup here in the group stages of our Champions League this season. But before then, we're going to check in on the other Icelandic teams down in the Europa League and the Conference League. First off, HK, of course, who got off to a really good start yesterday, beating Astana by 3-1. Couldn't quite match that performance as they did travel away to Israel to take on Maccabi Haifa, but do still pick up a valuable point, which does keep them in second place on the table off the back of a 1-1 draw. Things are going to get a little bit tougher for those guys, though, in their next two matches as they do take on Nice out of France. But first up for them is a home game, so if they can somehow get something out of that, they will put themselves in a great position to be making the knockouts of the Europa League for the first time. But at the very least, it does look like HK, based on early form, should be making the knockouts of a European competition this season. And down in the Conference League with Nuts KR, things have really condensed in their group, because the two teams who did lose in yesterday's episode have both picked up wins, and that does include Nuts KR, as they have somewhat surprisingly beaten Valerenga. Their two first half goals mean that they pick up a 2-1 win, so all the teams in this group are on 3 points, albeit due to their goal differential at the moment. Nuts KR are bottom of that group, but it does mean they are right in the hunt here, especially when you remember that they have 2 home games in their last 3 matches as well, so that could be quite important in a fairly even looking group like this one. But good stuff so far from the Icelandic teams in the lower European competitions. HK in second and Nuts KR, while in last, are joint on points with all of the other teams in their group. But we are about to play Manchester City for the first time. Back-to-back games coming up against these guys, and the first one is our home one, so ideally we'd pick up a winner, at the very least a draw here, so that we can try and gain parity with Man City and try and make sure we do go through out of this group in top spot. An update on what happened in the latter kickoff: as expected, Man City did defeat Sparta Prague by exactly the same margin as we did. Man City were actually at home for that game, so 2-0 against Sparta Prague. Not a bad result for us. That means that at the moment we're actually above Man City for some reason. Hopefully things stay that way off the back of this upcoming game. So at the moment, goal differential exactly the same between us and Manchester City, and also there was an early kickoff between Sparta Prague and Dinamo Zagreb on this third match week, as you might have been able to guess by the results on those first couple of match days. It does look like Sparta Prague might be a little bit stronger than Dinamo Zagreb. They picked up a 3-1 win there, so at the moment they are in pole position for that Europa League spot. But Manchester City, very good team. They beat us in our first Champions League final quite a few seasons ago. Currently, they are top of the Premier League, so currently outdoing Manchester United as well as Arsenal and Chelsea. It does look like Man United not quite going as well as they have done in previous seasons in the Premier League, this current one. So definitely a dangerous opposition here as we do take on a Manchester City team who looks like are playing a 4-4-2 under Vincent Kompany. Some very good players on their books. They still have Scott Hamilton in midfield, a very good new gen, Yusuf Demir, Ansu Fati, Erling Haaland up front at 36 years old. So these are players who are getting on a little bit in age, so maybe they're going to just weaken a little bit in the couple of years' time, but at the moment, it is still a very, very strong Manchester City team, but hopefully we can get the wood over them here at my arena and hold on to top spot in the group. But without any further ado, we'll come back shortly and try and make sure that is the case. Volsungur versus Manchester City from Husavik. And here are the team sheets for this big matchup. We are exactly the same as we were for that first game in today's episode. Hopefully we can bag a similar amount of goals and really put a hurting here on Manchester City. And there they are, looking pretty similar to how they were on the club info page before. Big top of the group clash. Hopefully we can grab first blood. And up to the 14-minute mark, we have our first highlight of this one. Manchester City in their kind of dark bluey blacky uniform. They switch that out to Ansu Fati on the left-hand side. We'll try and find a teammate, but plays it straight into the path of Agustin Agatigaram. We might get a chance here nice and early to build out from the back and hopefully create something here and try and get on the score sheet first in this game. And we do look to play out from the back here as Man City do press us fairly high at the moment. We play that back to Filippo Dinelli. Lassana Doumbia ball over the top here for Adam Saki. Just holds things up, plays that to Mizkic. We'll lay this off to Berger. Good ball here for Bayer Adam Saki in tons of space inside the box, completely unmarked. Some really good build-up play there from us, and we put that away in the bottom left corner, and right on the 15-minute mark, we make it 1-0 Volsungur with the first highlight of this one. It's a dream start. Nice ball there from Berger to Bayer, and Saki somehow is completely unmarked, tucks that away, and he will pick up another goal this calendar year, already over 50, and we make it 1-0, albeit right off the back of that, we do see the restart, so we might not get too excited just yet, as Man City might be looking for an instant reply, but yet again, Agatire, right place, right time, we get the ball back, and Adam Saki stays on his feet, gets a chance here to round the goalkeeper, just beats the near post, and a very quick fire double here at the 15-minute mark, makes it 2-0 Volsungur. What a start that is from our Moroccan striker. Good work there from Agatire, albeit the ball was pretty much played directly into his path, and Adam Saki does very well there to stay on his feet and just sneaks that inside that near post. A quick fire double there to our Moroccan striker makes it 2-0. And just past the 20-minute mark, it is now Manchester City with a corner of their own. They get ahead on the end of that through Renard, but thankfully that does go just over the bar. Still 2-0 about halfway through the first half in our favour. And that is half-time in this big clash in this group, the first one anyway, and a great start for us there with a quick fire double to Adam Saki. Does mean that we do take a 2-0 lead into half-time. Very happy with how things are going. Quite even in terms of stats, but with that lead, no changes needed at the moment. Very happy, as I said, with how things are going. So we'll get the second half underway shortly, albeit both of our left-sided players are on average rating, so we might keep an eye out on that one early in the second half. We'll keep things as they are. 2-0 up here as we kick off the second half. And just shy of the hour mark, it is time for us to make a few substitutions here. Ognjar Mizkic on a 6.3, so we are going to take him off. Also, Agustin Agatire has done a few good interceptions today. He's dropped down to a red heart, so I think what we're going to do here is bring on Heiko Kunze. Adam Saki, probably a better right-wing option, but he is on a hat-trick up front, so we'll bring Kunze on as a right-winger. Also, Alagard will come on for Ognjar Mizkic, still holding a 2-0 lead with just over a half hour left. And only a few minutes off the back of those previous substitutions, we are down the other end for a corner. Alagard puts that in the back of the net. We'll just hold off here because he might be offside, a bit hard to tell from set pieces, but the ball has found the back of the net. Could be a potential assist here for Bassero Gay, and indeed the goal is going to stand. That will surely ensure that we're going to finish this episode with 3 points. Alagard there with a tap-in off the back of that little flick header from Bassero Gay. 3-0 Volsungur with just under a half hour left. And with about 15 minutes to go, we are going to make our last substitution at this time. A few players on red hearts, but our midfield is going well, but Pedro Lemos will come on for Radenko Krolo on a 6.9 will give him some time out there in the Champions League. That's all of our subs used. Still 3-0 up with 15 minutes left. And just entering the last 10 minutes of this one, Manchester City with a highlight. They get a header off there. It comes off the post, and we might actually get a chance here on the counter-attack as Adam Saki starts to make his way down the right-hand side. Of course, he is on a hat-trick. Play that ball forward for Heiko Kunze. Off the bench, Lemos tries to find him, but Man City will clear their line. Still 3-0 up late in this one. And with only 1 minute left of injury time in this one, it is a highlight to Man City. We don't deal with that ball into the mix a bit. Thankfully, that shot is straight into the path of Calvin. It does mean that we should keep a clean sheet in this one with only a few seconds left. We'll see if anything else does come from this highlight, but this is going to be a really good win for us going into the second matchup against Manchester City at the Etihad in tomorrow's episode. It might also be quite good for the goal differential. Of course, a 3-0 result is going to mean that we have quite a superior goal differential. Even if we only lose that game tomorrow by a goal, we should still be in a pretty good position to be finishing top of this group, considering our last two matches are at home to Sparta Prague and then away against Dinamo Zagreb. Man City back on the attack, but that's a good slide tackle there from Ben Venubaya. Heiko Kunze makes his way towards the halfway line. That will be that. Quite an even game stats-wise, but in the end, Man City didn't look too threatening from any highlights that we did see until the scoreline was heavily in our favour. Very good quick double there from Adam Saki, and that second half goal from set piece to Christopher Allargard means we pick up, in the end, quite a convincing 3-0 win. Not that you'd be able to tell too much from those stats, but very happy with how that went, and that means that we are now 3 points clear of Man City at the halfway stage of this group. And with that goal differential switch as well, that should put us in quite a good position to hopefully be finishing top of this group off the back of that 3-0 win. And we've gone forward a little bit off the back of that nice win there against Manchester City. Very happy with that one by a scoreline of 3-0. Just checking in on what happened in the Europa League and the Conference League with our other Icelandic teams. First up is HK, a tough task there as they did take on Nice, and unfortunately they suffer their first defeat this European season, 2-0, but do still find themselves in that second qualifying spot in the Europa League because Astana and Maccabi Haifa only drew. So at the moment, HK a 2-point gap, currently in second, albeit quite a way behind Nice. They might at the moment have to play someone dropping from third in a Champions League group in the first knockout round of the Europa League, but it would still be a pretty good job for a fellow Icelandic team. And Natskaya unfortunately have also suffered defeat, this time 2-0 away at Kurga of Denmark. So Kurga and Dynamo Tbilisi are currently top of that group with Knatskaya and Valerenga joint on 3 points outside of those qualifying spots, but it's still quite an even group. And as you can see, as mentioned earlier, Knatskaya, they've only lost their away game so far. Hopefully, if they can do the job at home, they might still be in with a chance of getting out of that group, or at the very least, picking up a few more points to help out on the coefficient table. So both Icelandic teams are certainly in the lower competitions right still in the hunt of getting out of their groups, especially HK there in the Europa League. And back to where we are in the Champions League, we are in a nice position once we actually get to the right group to be finishing top off the back of those wins. In today's episode, 4-0 against Dinamo Zagreb, and that very, very important one by 3-0 against Manchester City. But that will do it for today. If you did enjoy today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Tomorrow it is the rematch against Manchester City, this time from the Etihad. Might be a little bit tougher there in England, but hopefully off the back of that 3-0 win at the very least, we should still hold advantage over them with goal differential, even if we do lose that one. But hopefully we can pick up a draw or maybe even a win, because that was quite a convincing win, albeit the stats would suggest that game was closer than the highlights did make it look. And also we're going to do our end of season review off the back of that game as well. So that's what's coming up in tomorrow's episode. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.